This is a woolly mammoth, or at least, this is what we thought. This drawing is the first ever representation of a woolly mammoth, and the specimen was found in the craziest way. In 1799, deep in Siberia, a hunter noticed something dark inside a wall of ice. He couldn't really tell what it was, so he left it there. The next summer, more of the shape had appeared, and for 4 summers after that, the ice melted gradually to reveal what was stuck inside. After 5 years, the entire body fell out of the ice. It was enormous. It still had skin and flesh, and it was covered in long hair. After observing it for weeks, he did what any good businessman would do. He removed the creature's tusks and sold them. A merchant called Roman Boltonov bought them. But when he heard they were ripped off from an actual body, he had to see it. It took him days to arrive at the place, and by then, the mammoth was partially destroyed. Scavengers had eaten much of the face. The trunk was gone. Parts of the body had been torn apart. But he decided to draw the animal anyway. He was not a scientist, not even an artist. He may never have seen an elephant before, not even a picture. But do you know what he did see often? Pigs. So when he tried to rebuild the missing face, he used something familiar. This, however inaccurate and uncanny, is the very first known reconstruction of a mammoth. 2 years after that, a botanist named Michael Adams traveled to recover the remains. He could smell the body before he could see it. By then, most of the flesh was also gone. Still, Adams recovered almost the entire skeleton. It was the most complete mammoth ever recovered. Adams also saw Boltonov's drawing. He called it very incorrect. The remains were sent to Wilhelm Tilesius in St. Petersburg. His task was to rebuild the animal. Luckily, the museum already had the skeleton of an Indian elephant. Tilesius used it as a guide. He replaced missing bones with wooden copies. He rebuilt the legs, the spine, the skull. He did a good job. But then he had to rebuild the tusks. The original ones had been sold, and no scientist had yet found a mammoth skull with both tusks still attached. To be fair, all the scientists were confused about the placement. This is another reconstruction of a mastodon. Tilesius had acquired another pair of tusks sent by Adams, and believed, or hoped, that they were the specimen's original tusks. And so with that, he had to guess how to place them, and he guessed that they should probably be on opposite sides, curved outward, kind of like protective weapons. For decades, that guess became the standard, and when a mistake becomes familiar enough, it begins to look correct, until a new discovery changed that. A mammoth skull discovered in England still had a tusk inside its original socket. For the first time, they could understand the natural curve. It curved outward and downward, then swept sharply inward and upward. Tilesius had reversed it. By the late 1860s, the evidence was difficult to deny, but the museum left the skeleton unchanged for another 31 years. The tusks were finally corrected in 1899, so the tusks were now correct, but the body was still inaccurate. A year later, another mammoth was discovered in Siberia. This one was found near the Berezovka River. It still had large sections of skin, organs, and hair. This gave artists something they desperately needed, so they added a thick coat, long hair, more protection from the cold. But beneath that coat, many reconstructions still looked like modern elephants. The back was too flat, the shoulders were too low, the ears were too large. The clue that helped correct the body had been sitting on cave walls for thousands of years. Long before scientists began rebuilding mammoths, prehistoric artists had drawn them. And these people were not guessing from bones. They had seen mammoths alive. Their drawings showed something very different from a modern elephant. Tall shoulders, a back that dropped sharply toward the hips, a large, rounded head, and small ears hidden beneath the hair. Now the shape looked right. But there was one more problem: the color. Mammoth hair recovered from the ground often looked red or orange, but hair doesn't spend 40,000 years underground without changing. Pigments break down. Chemicals move through the soil. Dark hair can become lighter. Brown hair can turn red. When scientists began studying 47 samples of mammoth DNA, they found genetic differences linked to darker and lighter pigment. Some headlines declared that blonde mammoths had existed, but it was more complicated than that. The lighter genetic version was only on one of 47 animals. It was probably rare. Then microscopic studies of real mammoth hair complicated things again. Some hairs appeared darker, others appeared pale. The coat may have contained several shades at once. Many woolly mammoths were probably dark brown. Others may have looked mixed or mottled. We're still unsure about that. But after 2 centuries of clues and research, this is our best current reconstruction of the woolly mammoth.